Welcome back to the Get Up Girl podcast. I am your host and your gal, Joanna Vargas. Thank you so much for either watching or listening on your favorite podcast app. I am so incredibly grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you for taking out the time. And today's show is going to be a solo show, and it is entitled The Future is Multiple Incomes. Now, I'm going to share a statistic, I got to look down at it because you could Google this right now. You could just Google and say, what percentage of Americans have two jobs? And I'm going to read this to you. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, they just put out, states that 400,000 Americans have two full-time jobs, not just multiple incomes, but full-time. So it's 35 or plus hours. So that's almost 70 hours a week, 35 to 40 plus, and then you add a second one. So that's times two. That is 400,000 Americans. And then a next statistic states that 5% have two jobs. Now, it may not be full-time jobs, but they have two jobs, so multiple incomes. And that is 7.7 million Americans have more than one job. So that's what we're going to talk about today, because that is the future. The future is multiple incomes. If you think back to the 50s, to the early 1500s, it was very different the way people lived, and females did not work. They got married and their husbands went out, made the bacon, made the living, and the women stayed home and were the mothers and the homemakers. And there was a single income per household. Now, we started to go into the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and, the 2000s, more and more and more and more females work. And even if it's a female working and the father stays home or any partner staying home, what I'm saying is that it is now it is a two-income household. So that is now the norm, more of the norm. And so what I want to talk about today is the future is two incomes per person, not two incomes per household anymore. Two incomes or more per person. And the average millionaire. And you know what? A millionaire is not what it used to be. $1 million is not much more than what it used to be. Now, when we say six figures back in the day, in the 80s, to make $100,000 was a lot. It is now equivalent to about $300,000 today. So if somebody's making $300,000 annually in their income, it is equal to earning $100,000 in the 80s. Not exactly, but average. You get what I'm saying? So now to say six figures is really not the same. Now that we're in 2023, if you're listening to this in real time, more and more people are going to extra incomes. So the average millionaire has 7+ streams of income. And I wonder if that's increasing as well. Now, more people are starting to have their maybe one job or one career or one business, and they have multiple side hustles, multiple streams of income. And that could look like many, 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 many different things. So that's what I want to talk about today is I want to get louder so that you can wake up and start your side hustle. This is going to be the future. If you're a parent right now and you have children and they're under the age of 5, this is their future. They're going to grow up to have many side hustles, many, many things that we are so vastly creative. And me personally, I'm going to talk about my story. I've never had just one job. Never, ever, ever. Even when I own my businesses, I've always had like 5 businesses. Now that was me, but I was always highly creative, and I liked creating things. I liked starting new things. I got bored, and I'm wondering if people are starting to get into that more, or did we always have that and now it's just being celebrated more rather than just doing the one thing. People are no longer staying at their jobs for 40 years the way they did many, many years ago. Now people are staying less than 5 years and then they're on to the next thing. People are not staying and getting that gold watch, so to speak, that people did many, many years ago. We are moving on to other things and getting bored much quicker. So I invite you to start to think about how you can add extra streams of income because of the inflation. Inflation has gone up almost 15%. And the average inflation, correct me if I'm wrong, but per year is around like 2 to 5%, around 2%, but it's gone up 8%, 10%. It's just gone up for certain things. It just depends on what it is that you're purchasing. The inflation has gone up. And that's one of the big reasons why the Bureau of Labor Statistics said that people now have a second job because of the inflation. And in order for us to keep up with our lifestyles and the things that we have, it is very different than, the way I grew up. We grew up with less. We just made everything less. Now, trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to keep up with everything, we require more income, and we require more income in order to live a more comfortable life. And looking into the future, it is time to start your side hustle. And look, your side hustle can be $100 a month, or your side hustle can be up to $1,000, $10,000 a month. And then maybe that becomes your full time business. There's so many different ways that you can create extra income. And I do want to talk about that today. So, one of the biggest things that you can do, I'm going to tell you three. First thing you can do is you can start by selling on Facebook Marketplace, apps like OfferUp and things of that nature, Poshmark, and you can begin to sell your things around your house and make a side or extra income that way. That can be in multiple streams of income. That could be an additional stream of income. I do that personally. I sell about 1 to 5 things a month from around my house. We all have stuff around our house. Now, I am going to let you know that you probably have things around your house that you don't think are valuable, that you may give away to the Goodwill or a place of that nature. And that's great too, because it is a tax write-off. And I know that you'd be surprised that somebody would actually buy that from you. And I've sold all kinds of things. I've sold it was a cell phone holder. It was probably worth, or I probably bought it for like $3 on Amazon, and I sold it. I think I sold it for $3 or $5. Now, $3 or $5 is not much and is better than nothing. And I actually put it up there just because I wanted to see if I could sell it. So that's the first thing that you can do, selling things around your house. And every single person, Dave Ramsey says this, but he says most people in their household have at least $10,000 worth of stuff that they can sell. $10,000, that's the average. Of just if you add it up. Now, you may not sell it right away. It may take you a whole year to sell all that stuff. And you got to be patient when you put it up there. I just sold a sleeping bag. I sold the sleeping bag for $15, I believe. I started at $20, $15. And I had this sleeping bag from the 80s. It was very, very, very old, but in good condition. And somebody purchased it. I lowered it to $15. And somebody purchased it because she was making a movie. And the reason she needed this backpack was because the reason she needed the sleeping bag was because it matched what she needed in the movie. So she was a PA for the director and purchased this sleeping bag. So do not assume that nobody wants to buy this 40-year-old sleeping bag for almost the same price that we bought it in the 80s, or that my parents bought it in the 80s, that she spent the same amount of money that they purchased it in the 80s. It was probably less than $15 back then. And because she needed it and it required for some kind of something in her life. Don't assume that nobody's going to want that backpack or a sleeping bag. Don't assume that nobody's going to want this piece of furniture. Maybe you don't want it, but somebody else is looking for something of that nature. So that's the first thing you can do. Second thing is you can start with your talent. What are you good at? Get a pen and start to make a list of everything that you're good at. Oh, I'm really good at organizing books. Okay, maybe you can start and you could DM people on Instagram and say, hey, can I come to your house and organize your books, organize your closet, organize your garage? What are you really good at? Are you really good at cleaning? I like to clean. Well, then maybe you can start cleaning people's houses on the side, and that could build into a big business. Maybe you're really good at writing and you start writing speeches for people. You can go on Etsy and say, I will write um, your speech when you go to a wedding. Is it when you're the maid of honor or the best man and they need a really good speech? Maybe you write those speeches. There's so many things that you can start doing and selling your talents right now. Okay, so start it. The third thing you can also do is you can join a network marketing company where everything is already in place. So I'm going to throw out a couple out there. Arbonne. You can begin selling Arbonne, and you could do it right here on this phone, on your smartphone. I mean, gosh, it's so easy. You could start selling on your social media. There is things also like Mary Kay. You could sell Mary Kay. Gosh, is Mary Kay still around? Um, you can begin. There's so many network marketing. You can sell eyelashes, those magnetic ones that they have network marketing companies where you create a business and it's very low to join and you can start making money today. It is so simple to create a side business. So I wanted to talk about that today. Do not let the future go above you. The future is multiple incomes, not multiple incomes per household. It is multiple incomes per person. And please set yourself up for success. Set yourself up for the future. And if you're interested in starting that damn business already or your side hustle, I am teaching a class called Start Your Damn Business Already or Side Hustle. And it's going to be on Sunday, March 12th, if you're in the LA area. And it's going to start in the morning at 10 a.m. DM me if you're interested on Instagram or any platform at Joanna Vargas Official. If not, you can swipe up in the show notes. My Instagram is there. Send me a DM and just say, hey, I'm interested in your workshop coming up, and I'll send you out all the information. Thank you so much for listening. You know what? I really appreciate you all taking out the time to invest in you, to discover new possibilities. And I invite you to look into the future and see how things are changing. And especially parents out there, your kids are going to live in a very, very different world that we lived in. So I would love for you to also know what the future is coming up so that you can set them up for success and the best possible future imaginable. I love and adore every single one of you. And until next time, let's get up, everybody. Peace. See you next time.